Welcome to round number 4. We are on the draw here. Full disclosure, I did finish that previous league up on stream. Finished 4-1. I'm now 3 matches deep into a different league with the same record, however. So 2-1. So as far as this this video series is concerned, we're 2-1 anyway. So it doesn't really change anything. But hey, might as well share. Sand is not quite functional, missing a second land drop. We'll go ahead and pitch it. We will likely be keeping this, although our only dredger is a Dakmore salvage, which is plenty awkward. The payoffs, though, are pretty high with a cathartic. Bottoming a looting is a tough prospect. I think I just have to keep that. I would have been pretty happy with a land there. I would have been pretty happy with a better dredger, but I mean, looting's great, obviously. Yeah, perfect. Narcomoeba not exciting here, of course, but this allows us to discard Dakmore salvage and have a dredger there. Next turn, we get Blackcleave Cliffs and have this cathartic, and then later also have this looting to continue. These Narcomoebas aren't doing us any favors, but that's just fine in the meantime. That does hurt quite a bit, though. Can't cathartic this turn now. Can't Haunted Dead, though. Don't hate that. Might be better off casting Faithless Looting off of 2 lands here. Finding another untapped land would be good, obviously, so that I could do something this turn and next turn. I think we'll go ahead and do that. Obviously, we get this guy. Go ahead and cast looting. Not bad. So ditch salvage to have a dredger. We did find an untapped land and a way to kill some things. Obviously, our opponent can Meddling Mage to turn that off, but if they don't, we certainly have access to that as a way to deal with the Thalia. Hopefully we can find a more exciting dredger here from this Dakmore salvage, but it is doing some work for us at least. Not the best, but certainly could be worse. Every time I'm streaming, when I feel or recording rather, if I feel a sneeze coming on, I start to think about it, and then it just goes away without me actually dealing with it, which is sometimes great, sometimes annoying. When it lingers longer, not helpful, obviously. Prized Amalgam. Not the worst. Did not find a better dredger. Probably still supposed to cathartic and cross my fingers rather than like Conflagrate just to kill a Thalia. I guess I get to attack first, though. Because then Conflagrate to kill both of these starts to sound a lot more appealing. Especially if I'm only discarding 2 cards anyway. Yeah, opponent obviously not blocking there. I could Haunted Dead now that we found this Prized Amalgam that's a little bit more exciting. We really are crossing our fingers with this Dakmore, obviously, right? I mean, like, if there's not a dredger in the top 2, it's going to be kind of ugly. Haunted Dead, discarding salvage, Narcomoeba. That's also not terribly exciting. I mean, I probably want to play my land too, right? So that puts me with Cathartic, Narcomoeba, Dredge, salvage, return. Yeah, I guess that's probably a little bit better. This game is looking a little precarious, but that's probably better. Likely block with the Spirit right away, I think. On the Mantis Rider. I mean, these things can definitely get bigger later as more Thalia's Lieutenants and Mayors are played, but we'll see. Meddling Mage. Yeah, that stinks. Sure, we name Conflagrate here. This is much harder to deal with, obviously, game 1. Yeah, that's good too. Game 2, we have a lot more ways to kill this, but game 1, it's basically just going to sit there. Especially if it's a 3-3. We'll go ahead and jump this. Dredge salvage. Another amalgam here. Alright, time to cross our fingers, I guess. But we're facing down quite a bit here. Come on, additional dredger. Alright, did hit some. But we gotta get some payoff here. For some reason I feel like I have 6. Let's turn up auto yields just in case. Alright, gassed amalgam? It's not the worst since we got to dredge back this salvage. However, we only have a couple blockers here and obviously don't really have any profitable attacks, so it's going to be pretty hard for us to get through without Conflagrate, and our opponent's just going to be beating us down with this Mantis Rider, so I don't really see this going particularly well for us, even still, even though that turn went about as good as we could hope for. I guess some Narcomoebas would have been nice if we're trying to angle for a better turn, but as is, we're certainly in some trouble. The whole vigilance thing on this Menace Rider gonna be put to work. Our opponent's blocks are just good too. Like, if they're not attacking with Meddling Mage, and you know, obviously they're gonna have some more stuff to play here. They've drawn 5 lands. I mean, you know, things are good for us on their side. Looks like a freebooter. We don't have anything to take with that. I guess this Stinkweed Imp is really going to throw a wrench in their plans, but the problem again is that we're not really getting through. Like, that's going to put us in sort of a board stall, but it's not really going to break us through. Does loam matter? No. Look at some more cards here. Yeah, I mean, I just got to cast this. Like, do I have any attacks? I guess if I had Dredged Loam, I might have had some attacks here, right? I get to attack with all these Bloodghasts. They only have, I guess the problem is they just eat them all for free. I have 3 Bloodghasts. They have 3 ways to eat them. But if I also shipped with the Amalgams, I was probably supposed to dredge the thing and actually get to bash this turn, and now my opponent probably knows better. So we'll just play this and pass for now. I also can't, I guess the bigger problem is that I can't really afford to attack with Amalgams. Like, I can basically only afford to attack with the Bloodghasts because they can't block anyway. But as I put more blockers into play, that definitely changes, right? I think here we do Dredge the Loam, though there is some temptation to hit the Stinkweed. That was really good for us. Now we're kind of okay with attacking with just about everything. Getting some stuff eaten for free and then just putting it back in play, right? I mean, even the Haunted Dead, we're happy to put back in play for free. Not for free, I guess, but essentially for free. The drawback is not too much of a drawback here. They can't eat all of our guys without taking any damage, so we're at least getting something done, although it's not the most productive thing. Yeah, so our opponent can only block there. Get in for 6. We're going to put all that stuff back in a heartbeat. And still have 4 blockers here if we hardcast a Thug. So Mine, Mountain, Confluence. I did not remember that was going to cost me 3. I should have kept that in mind. It doesn't matter now, but it could have, and I didn't think about it the right way. Yes. Definitely yield to those. Those get annoying. All right. I will hardcast this just to have another blocker. We're starting to turn this game in our favor here. Stinkweed made a huge difference, right? From us being in the point where they were just going to be bashing us to the point where we can sort of turn the corner. I have land, so I don't have to dredge loam, so it looks like Stinky is the favorite here. We also had a couple really good dredges, though. I mean, to hit all of this already, right? I mean, that's all 4 Amoebas, 3 of the 4 Amalgams, and all 4 Bloodghast in the top 25. I mean, that's pretty great. And even the Haunted Dead, so... Anyway, if I attack with everything here, there's no way I have lethal, right? I mean, so my opponent has... I shouldn't say there's no way. 5 blockers to my... Potentially 6, but let's just say it's 5 to my 7. Well, I mean, they block. Then I have 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, so that's not lethal. So let's just attack with the same sort of stuff and leave back our things that can actually block that don't come back when they die. These are coming through. Opponent does have a champion or a noble hierarch. Looks like a champion in this case. Yeah, so this time they block just amalgam. Oh, they are going to still kill it. Yeah, they still need to block some bloodghasts. Okay, great. So we get those amalgams back. If they had the luxury of only blocking and killing amalgams, then we wouldn't necessarily have a way to get them back, but... I don't see a reason. I mean, yeah, these are going to have haste, but the amalgams won't. Don't see a reason to not just bring these back right now, especially not in a game 1. Yeah. So we get to bring in a little more removal here. Could consider the start to finish. I do definitely want these decays. Some of these lists are incorporating Grafdigger's Cage. That's definitely something that I should consider. But I'm already bringing in the decays, so I think until I see Cage, I'm sort of fine with this hedge. Driven to Despair is acceptable too, since they gum up the ground so well and are often going to stop me from casting Conflagrate with the use of Meddling Mage. Yes, post-board I have a bunch of ways to kill Meddling Mage, but even still, I think having access to this is important. As such, I think cutting 1 is not unacceptable. Haunted Dead is pretty good here. I'm not sure we want to cut that. Oh, I don't want this Brutality. So is there something I'd rather cut for this 3rd Conflagrate? The other real considerations here are the start to finish, like I said, although I think it's just a little bit too clunky, especially against the Thalia deck. And then lastly, you know, hedging more against Cage, which I don't think I'm willing to do, especially, you know, with 2 sideboard games ahead of us. So I think we cut a salvage and keep this. I mean, that's still, I have both Dark Blasts, so I should be totally okay to do that. Yeah, let's try it that way. I think two Conflagrates is also acceptable, but sometimes you can get them with really early Conflagrates, but only if you dredge over them really early in the game, right? And that only happens, or rather that happens much more often when you have all 3 of them in your deck. So I don't think I actually want to shave one here, even if Meddling Mage is often going to be rendering it useless. This hand is, you know, borderline functional, since we'd get to Loam, but I don't think that's really worth keeping, especially not in this matchup. I can't really pass this one up. I mean, there's a ton of payoff here. We'll scry that to the bottom, unfortunately. We don't have a Dredger, but we have everything else, right? I mean, we have Interaction, we have 2 best draw spells. that also are ways of finding dredgers, right? So this doesn't, and we have all the mana we need, right? All the right colors, all untapped, obviously. I just don't really see us shipping this one realistically, especially not on the draw. The sand would be much better, obviously, if we had a Dark Blast, but can't hope for anything. Or if we had a Stinkweed Dip instead of the third land, but can't always have everything, rather. There's the Vial. Dagmor Salvage is not terrible. I mean, at least it's a Dredger. We'll go ahead and loot on turn 1 here rather than like leave up Lightning Axe. With Dagmor being so unexciting, there's a lot to say about Ditch Ghast and Prized Amalgam. I mean, most of the time in a spot like this, I'm pretty happy to, like if this was a Stinkweed Imp, I'm pretty happy to discard Stinky plus Prized Amalgam and just leave the Bloodghast in my hand for now. But with this being a salvage, I think this is probably where I want to be just to get some power and toughness in play. The issue with this line is that these are so easily outclassed by my opponent's deck that it might be worth... it might be worth just sort of going salvage into reunion salvage. And the other advantage of that line is that it makes our reunion much more likely to be good. Whereas right now our reunion is not incredibly likely to be good. It's possible I'm supposed to just decay this turn, because our reunion is currently unlikely to be good. I'm already putting 5 power in play, so I might as well control the board. I think that's not unacceptable. It's a weird way of saying that. I think that is acceptable. I think this is probably the line we should be taking. Don't really need a double negative to get that point across. Yeah, we still just pass here. If my opponent had like a freebooter, obviously we would want to save a removal spell for that, so we'd get to use both our removal spells. Anafenza? Yeah, we definitely want to kill that as well. Gosh, with this Vial on 2, I'm a little bit anxious about the correct way to play this. I don't really want to take damage, but if I like decay this and then they freeboot me, then I can't kill this. I think I'm supposed to just take that. Decay this now, just in case. And then worry about... Okay, well, they're going to clear it up for me, I suppose. Yeah, I mean, I have 2 different removal spells, so I don't care about that particularly. Sure. So I think it might actually be correct for me to ignore this and just blow both of these things up to slow my opponent's beat down so much and sort of control what blockers they have and all that good stuff. So yeah, I think I like that here. Let's kill that and upkeep Lightning Axe this. Dredge. Hit another Dredger, which is perfect. Bash. Could leave this at home, but I think this is a fine attack. I guess we just say go. Is there really any incentive to playing this? Yeah, I guess I should. If they have like freebooter and take my Cathartic, I'll want to flashback Faithless Looting before I play a land kind of thing. It's unfortunate that I couldn't cast the Cathartic this turn. I'm guessing they named Faithless Looting here, but yeah. Well, that certainly makes their board a lot better. The Thalia's Lieutenant, that is. Dredge this. Alright, not bad. Is there a reason not to attack first? Don't think I want the blocker yet. Yeah, okay. Be sweet to find a Dark Blast now after that block. Guess it wouldn't really change much, but it'd still be kind of nice. Start with Stinkweed. There is a Dark Blast. I will take it. And then I need to take Dakmore. So let's just finish this off now. Play this and get some Bloodghasts. And ship the turnover. If our opponent doesn't grow this, we could consider Dredge Dark Blast. Plus Flashback Faithless Looting or plus cast Stinkweed Imp. But they do. They have another Meddling Mage as well. They might name Stinkweed Imp here, actually. That Meddling Mage is actually pretty good. They named Faithless Looting again. I think that's good for me. I think they should have named Stinkweed that time. Speaking of, I guess if I dredge Loam here, I can cast Loam into Stinkweed, which is probably better for me. But I obviously do need to find more action. Mountain Mine Confluence. I guess this way I have to take a damage from my Confluence, which is not ideal, so maybe I should have done it the other way. Should have bashed first as well, too, but that's okay. 2 blockers is sufficient here. Obviously, there are things that can happen if they have something to put in off this vial, but they did just get a blind card off their canopy, and that card very well could have been this Meddling Mage as well. Play this, and play this. Putting myself down to 9 with 2 blockers, but opponent's at 4 here. So their attacks are a little bit tough. Champion. Guess they're spending all their mana. They have 2-drop here. Thalia or Thalia's Lieutenant, perhaps. Another Lieutenant, sure. Alright, so they don't attack at all, since they don't really have the luxury. Dark Blast does kill this Thalia's Lieutenant, but I'm obviously not killing my opponent from there. Might be better just to grab a Stinkweed Imp to have another blocker. They do get to eat all these for free. Yeah, I think I just grabbed Stinkweed. Got an Archimedes and Haunted Dead? Yeah, that's insane. Now I might even bash with these to put my opponent on a 2-turn clock in the air. Since I'll still have 3 blockers, 4 blockers. Yeah, that's definitely what we're doing. So get in with... Hey, this is just a waste of time. Whatever. No, I'm not playing land this turn, actually. That doesn't make sense. So get in with just these. Yeah. 4 blockers is plenty. I guess I'll be at 8, but... should be in the clear here. Opponent might just alpha to put us to the test. Discard these, get the dead, make some blocks happen. Move this off screen for a minute here. So, probably block, well, probably block to eat this. Block to trade there. Block to trade there. Block here. Now if they have Mantis Rider, I don't win. Maybe I'm supposed to just do this then. So I still killed them in the air if they have Mantis Rider. I mean, they should have... They probably would have attacked. If they had Mantis Rider, was I dead? I mean, it probably doesn't matter, right? They're not killing me because I'm taking 1 damage here. So, yeah, sure. I mean, I also, like, get in there on the ground a bunch. Like, maybe I'm supposed to block this, but this feels like it's just so far away from mattering that we're totally okay with this. Anyway, that looks like that's it for that round, and I will see you in the final round in just a moment.